everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you've never been here before. Hey! So in today's video, we're going to be discussing some information in regarding the Jelani Day's case. So I had already did a video on Jelani Day, so if you want to see that video, I'll just link it somewhere here. So I wanted to do a part 2 on the case because more information has been released since I did that video, and I just wanted to go over some details of the case. So as you may know, so Jelani had went missing on August 24th. He was last seen on campus at around 7:15 a.m. He went to school early because he wanted to catch up with his professors so they can go over some problems that he had in the class. So he was last seen on camera on the college campus at around 7:15 a.m. and about an hour later or 2 hours later, he was then seen at a dispensary, and that was the last time he was actually seen alive. Jelani will then be found on Saturday, September 4th, face down in the Illinois River. So remember when his body was first found, they actually took a whole 20 days for them to make a positive ID. And this was simply because they said that they ran out of a chemical that they used to do a positive DNA test. So since then, the autopsy for his body has been released, and it's pretty graphic. So the autopsy showed that his front, bottom, and top tooth was actually missing. So the family actually hired a second private pathologist to go ahead and do their research to see their findings. They actually found that his jaw was sawed out, which was very, very weird. Like, they're not sure why that happened. And they also discovered that he had no brain, no organs, no liver or spleen. But the family attorney actually came out and said the reason for that is because his organs were completely liquefied. Not sure why or where, or if it's from him being in the river, or if it's something that they did. No, I don't think that's possible, but I'm not sure why. They also said that his body revealed that he may have suffered from fish and turtle bites, and he also had no eyeballs, only sockets. And I mean, it gets even more graphic than that, but we're gonna spare the details. We're not even gonna get into that. So on Monday, October 25th, the coroner actually ruled his cause of death as drowning. And when the coroner made that announcement, the family actually learned about it when we learned about it. So they didn't even reach out to the family privately and tell them first and then made the announcement. They literally went ahead and made the announcement, and the family found out about it when we found out about it. But that was only the cause of death. The manner of death is not yet confirmed, which they're insinuating that it might be suicide, but obviously it's not confirmed. So they also said that there were no pre-death injuries such as manual strangulation, assaults, sharp or blunt or gunshot injuries. There were no tumors, natural diseases, congenital abnormalities, I have no idea what that is, or significant drug intoxication, which made me think, so if there were no drugs in his system, then what exactly he went to the dispensary for? So I know people are saying that maybe he went there for someone like his professor. That would have made a lot more sense if he didn't have any drug in his system, but that's a whole different story for a whole other day. So as I said, the coroner actually ruled his cause of death as drowning, but this whole circumstances around drowning, it was just so weird because they also said that there is no positive test for drowning. So it's not like they said, okay, well, we found water in his lungs, so that means that he drowned. They basically said that you just diagnose somebody with drowning if you look and you notice that they don't have any other injuries or any other thing that could have led to the death, and then you see them in the water. So basically it's drowning. So it was almost like a hypothetical conclusion and not a factual one. So police said that Jelani actually parked his car and then he walked into the woods, and apparently there was a witness who saw him drop his wallet. So they saying that Jelani did this to himself, but his family, his mother specifically, is saying that if the police is saying that he parked his car, walked into the wood and did this to himself, then they would imply that he would have been suicidal. And she said that he was definitely not suicidal. She hadn't seen any signs that he was suicidal. And he wasn't depressed, and they're very close because, as I said in my last video, him and his mom, they were very close. They talk every single day. They talk about everything. So if there was something that he was going through, he definitely would have spoke to his mom about it. And he just had so much to live for, just so much positive thing going on for him and a loving family. So it wouldn't make sense for him to commit suicide. Like, she literally said that if it is suicide, she will accept it. But it just does not make sense that that's what it was.
So see it with your own eyes. See why I'm so adamant about finding out what happened to my son. If I thought that anything that Jelani would have did something to himself, I can accept those things. But my son, he loved life. Yes. He had goals and aspirations. He believed in God. He had a strong Christian background. He wouldn't have dared did anything to himself.
So his car was found about a mile away from where his ID and a lanyard was found. His clothes was actually found about a mile away from where his body was found. So his hat and his shirt was still in the car, and then his shorts, socks, and shoes was found in another area about a mile away from where his body was found.
This area is where the clothing was found. So this is the Illinois Route 351 bridge, okay? And just on the east side, on the north shore bank, is where his clothing was found.
This also does not make sense if it is suicide, because for you to actually strip yourself naked, that's very humiliating. For you to just strip yourself naked in public and then commit suicide like that, like, no one does that. And usually whenever someone gets killed and the victim is stripped naked, this is kind of like a final FU, and like way for the person who commit the crime to kind of like humiliate the victim. So this is why they would strip them naked. His mother also said that he's a swimmer. So yeah, like the part of the river where they actually found him, it just did not make sense that that's where he would have gone if he wanted to commit suicide. Like, I mean, it literally looks like a very shallow part of the river, and if somebody want to commit suicide, they're not going to make it as slow as possible. And if he's a swimmer, he could definitely, you know, defend himself against himself in that shallow part of the water. Like, also, they still have not discovered the license plate for his vehicle. As I said in the first video, his license plate was off of his vehicle and his phone was still missing. So if it was suicide, why would you take your license plate off of your vehicle and, I mean, hide them? Or if anything, then it would be in the river if that was the case. So I feel like if they really wanted to look for it, they could have looked for it, and I'm sure they could have found it because it's metal. So it's, you know, it's only gonna flow that far, which I'm pretty sure they have not looked for it. But also, since they're insinuating that he was the one who drove into the woods, his mom actually showed the path into the woods.
They're saying that he drove his car, came down this street, drove his car through this trail. Okay, so you can still see like this tire mark around right here, and the thing's rolled over here.
They say he drove the car.
They say he drove his car up in here. See how these is this is what was down when we came. This is from the car being drove through here.
This car came all the way through here?
Yeah. This is where the car came through.
What kind of car was it?
He has a 2010 Chrysler 300.
How deep in?
Oh, come up. He's all the way up in here. But his car was parked right here, because if you see this opening right here,
Yes.
right here. His car was parked right here. When we stood at this opening up here, this is where we looked down and saw the car.
So you look down from up there, and
We
so
look
that's
down.
the wires up over there?
That's the ivy. The Y is over here. Yes.
And you look down and
And
saw
we
the
looked
car.
when we got here that night. The police showed us the car was right here. They had to take his car and pull it up there. Pull the
crane
cable
or
up there
something?
on a tow truck. Yeah, they pulled it up. See how these sticks and stuff is down? That's from Jelani's car. They pulled it up this hill and put it on the bed of the truck.
So were there windshield cracked?
There was nothing cracked.
Door?
Nothing.
Dents in the car?
No.
So the car was basically intact?
It was intact. And the only thing that was wrong with the car, the license plates had been pulled off.
The front grille of the car?
The front grille wasn't nothing wrong with the
back?
No.
In the
nothing.
door windows was intact?
Everything was intact.
He came through all of that.
All of this.
And the car is intact?
The car was intact.
And they
Somebody
said,
had to know about this spot.
Absolutely
You see that
impossible.
neighbor up there that we talked to?
I seen it. Whoever brought him here, they knew of this area. You wouldn't have knew to drive and come on down that street and come in here.
I was following you.
You're right. That's the only way you was gonna be here. That's the only way any of you would have been here.
Right.
Why couldn't they just look on street cam? I mean, if you look on street cam, you should be able to pick up the vehicle. You should be able to see if there was anyone else in the vehicle. I mean, I feel like I could solve this case by myself without any resources. Like, they're literally just saying that it's suicide, but they're not giving enough information. Like, did you check the street cams to actually see? Because apparently they're saying they don't know how the vehicle got from Bloomington at the dispensary to Peru. And I mean, you could just literally trace the vehicle on street cams, but apparently that's too much for them. So Jelani's mom said that Jelani would never go to Peru. Like, he doesn't know anybody in Peru. He's never been to Peru, so it's just not somewhere that he would go to. And also, as I said before, the last time his phone was pinged was actually at the dispensary about 5 minutes before he was seen on camera.
Our detectives were looking through electronic data, and this was really the last location that we had. Anything that's connected to, say, electricity or cell phone tower is something that we, the police, can look into.
And that made me wonder, they actually have no footage of him actually leaving the dispensary. So I'm trying to figure out, why is no one investigating the dispensary? Did they talk to anybody at the dispensary? Like, I haven't seen any information about that. Like, how is the dispensary automatically cleared? Because he went in, he didn't come out, and that was literally the last place his phone pinged. So even if you did went to the dispensary to go buy weed or whatever it is, why would you turn off your phone when you're leaving? It's literally 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, Peru, Illinois, where his body was found, is 60 miles away. It's a whole 60 miles away from Bloomington. And his mother said he didn't know the area, so how would he have known to drive, 60 miles out to that woods? Like, it just would not have made sense for him to do that. So as I mentioned before, there were 2 eyewitnesses apparently. So there was the eyewitness who actually saw him drop his wallet, and apparently they found his wallet and gave it to the police. And then there were 2 other eyewitnesses, the 2 girls. So as I said in my first videos, the 2 girls, they actually went ahead to go research, to go look around to see if they could find Jelani. Mind you, this was after the police had already searched the area. Jelani had already been found at that point, but they still wanted to go look around, and apparently they were the one who found Jelani's clothing a mile away from where Jelani's body was found. So it's either they put the clothes there or the police just did not search the area, because how do you find his clothing so close to where his body was found? So that means that the police didn't really search for anything. So Jelani's mom actually wanted to speak with them, but apparently they're lawyered up and will not speak with her. Like, she literally just wanted to speak with them to say thank you. And I mean, this is a very high profile case, so I can see why they would get lawyers. However, the fact that they will not speak with her, or, just like basically not talk to her or not help her, and all she wanted to do was basically tell them thank you, it's just like very, very strange. It just seems like something is being covered up if none of the witnesses are willing to speak to his family. Or maybe the police is hiding something. Like, these witnesses are there that the police confirmed. The police are the one who is giving Jelani's mom this information, but somehow Jelani's mom is not able to confirm any of this information. She's just getting it directly from the police. There was one interesting theory. So Jelani's mom said that the police told her that that area where Jelani was found is actually called Lover's Lane. So apparently that's where, like, couples, they go, they just make out, they do whatever. Apparently that's what people do on Lover's Lane, I think. I don't know, I've never been to a Lover's Lane before, but apparently that's what you do on Lover's Lane. But Jelani's mom was like, her son would never. She said her son would never meet nobody in the woods. So Jelani is not just a college kid. Like, he's literally a grad student in medical school. He's not just gonna ditch class and go hook up with somebody in the woods. Like, he literally have his own apartment. So if that was the case, he would have done this at his own apartment, if anything. I'm just saying, it just would not make sense. However, since this is what people are saying, people are also theorizing that he may have been gay, which has nothing to do with anything. It's nobody's business if he's gay or not gay. However, it would make sense if he is gay to go to the woods with someone. Maybe he didn't want to be seen in his apartment, but who is this person, and could that person have hurt him? Like, you know, it's just so many questions. But anyway, his mom said that that's not something that he would have done, but that just like really stuck out to me a little bit. And also, it wouldn't make sense for him to turn his phone off at 9 o'clock, then drive 60 miles away. But as of October 27th, the LaSalle County coroner actually released their final detailed autopsy. There were no evidence of altercation or assault on the body, so they're still trying to push the suicide narrative. And I really feel like authorities need to at least investigate every single angle, because while he might commit suicide, also somebody could have possibly did this to him. And if somebody did this to him, this person is literally out there. So that is all the updates I have for now. If anything else comes out, I'll definitely leave it under this video. And I'll also link the first video that I did on this case, just so you can watch the first part if you don't know the story. So yeah, that is it. That is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.
A black male missing, because the police even said it to me. Is he depressed, or do you just think he just didn't want to be around his family, or do you think that he was just trying to get away from something, he was in something bad? No. He wasn't a blogger. He was going to school to be a doctor. He had a family that loved him. Why look for the worst when just look for Jelani?